Okay, I know I'm mad late on this video, but that's neither here nor there, okay? Leave me alone. One of the biggest complaints of the Seekers of the Storm update for Risk of Rain 2 was that each of the 3 new survivors didn't have as many skills as the others, and because of that felt a little samey throughout. Also, balance seems to be a complete myth, seeing as Chef was by far the worst survivor we've ever seen and False Sun was one of the best. Well, with the final update of the Seekers of the Storm 2.0 roadmap, we are finally seeing changes that make these issues go away. We're talking new abilities, reworks of old ones, and a whole host of overall balance changes. So let's get into those. False Sun is receiving 2 new abilities. The first is a secondary called Lunar Stakes, which is a quality over quantity alternative to the Lunar Spikes. This new projectile counts as 2 of the previous Lunar Spikes, but pierces and deals 150% more damage as well. Also, for every enemy or wall it hits, it will activate a delayed lightning strike to deal a little more damage. This ability is unlocked by completing the challenge Protein Heavy Diet that requires you to have up to 40 Lunar Spikes throughout growth. He also has a new utility ability called Meridian's Will, which swaps out his short-range dash for a longer-range teleport. This teleport can only be used by targeting the ground, but once you reach your destination, you explode in a large area of effect, dealing 150% damage, stunning, and pulling enemies to you. After you teleport, you also gain a short burst of movement speed for a brief period of time. This ability is unlocked by completing the challenge Family Bonding, which requires you to kill Mithrix with the Aurelianite while he has been inflicted with at least 1 stack of Lunar Ruin. I personally far prefer this new alternative ability to his previous, rather mundane dashes. As for the changes to the existing abilities, Step of the Brothers can now be used while channeling his laser or his club slam, his primary fire's knockback has been reduced, and its base damage has been increased to 450%, while club slam's damage has been decreased to 1000%. Charged slam's proc coefficient is now 1, down from 3, and the blast radius of the slam is increased the longer you're falling. Lunar Spikes are now agile, meaning they can be used while sprinting, and also have had their damage increased from 150% to 200%. The duration of the animation used to fire them has also been shortened to allow for a higher attack speed. Laser Burst has been buffed to deal 1,250% damage from 1,000, and it will now refund 50% of your Lunar Spikes instead of 30. And finally, False Sun's damage at the start of the game has been reduced from 13 to 12, but it will now scale faster with 2.4 per level instead of 2. That's all for the False Sun. Overall, I think he's a lot more fun to play, especially with Meridian's Will being a higher mobility option than he previously had. I may actually find myself playing him a lot more in the future. Seeker has also gotten 2 new abilities. The first is an alternative to Sojourn called Reprieve. This ability will also turn you into an orb and give you barrier. Your total barrier lost during this ability is released upon impact with a wall or cancelling the ability into a cyclone that heals allies, pulls enemies together, and deals 200% damage per second. Also, yes, you can technically stay in this ability forever, though it has a shorter turning radius than Sojourn, so it's very hard to do. And also you can still take damage while inside it. This ability is unlocked by the challenge Scorched Earth by dealing 500,000% damage with only 1 instance of Sojourn. Her other new ability is called Palm Blast and is an alternative to Meditation. It is a charged projectile that deals 400 to 700% damage and heals all allies hit. Hitting 3 or more characters, that's enemies and allies, will grant barrier and 1 stack of tranquility. This is unlocked via the challenge Clear Mind, which requires you to meditate 20 times in a row without missing an input in a single run. As for her existing abilities, any successful meditate beyond 7 stacks of tranquility will now always revive teammates in multiplayer. You can now also self-revive once upon reaching 7 stacks of tranquility. They have increased all attribute gains from each stack of tranquility by 15%. And finally, they have increased the range of the meditation explosion by 2 meters per stack of tranquility. Overall, Seeker mains rejoice, as you should finally be able to deal much more damage than you were previously able to. I think Sojourn will still be a better option for her utility, but nonetheless, it is good to finally have some variety. Chef is, of course, getting a whole host of changes, also including 2 new abilities. The The first is Icebox, a new secondary ability that is more utility over damage. It launches 3 ice cubes for 150% damage each and applies frost. Upon reaching 6 stacks of frost, the enemies will become frozen. Shooting part of your oil trail will freeze it, making it apply 1 stack of frost per second to the enemy standing within it. Using Yes Chef will upgrade this ability to instead fire a single, much larger ice cube that deals increased damage in a larger area of effect. Also, it has 2 charges. This ability is unlocked via the challenge It's Getting Hot in Here, which requires you to have up to 20 stacks of burn on Mithrix at once. He also has a new utility ability that is more damage and verticality focused rather than speed. It allows you to jump up and shoot globs of oil down below you for 200% damage each. If you hold the ability button, you may bounce up to 4 additional times with reduced height. Using Yes Chef upgrades this ability to automatically ignite your oil trails with either ice or fire, depending on which you have equipped. This ability is unlocked by the challenge You've Always Been Crazy, in which you must hit at least 5 airborne enemies with a single use of his other utility, Roll. His base abilities have also been changed, of course. Dice has been changed to automatically return the cleavers if you do not hold down the attack button. The damage has been reduced to 200% per individual cleaver hit, and the cleavers that are held out will continually deal damage to enemies in contact with them. Cleavers held out like this will deal double damage upon returning to Chef. Roll now charges significantly faster. Seer's range has been increased significantly and is much easier to aim, no longer being dependent on the direction Chef is facing. And finally, Glaze now has an oil spill, which will leave an oil trail that can either be burned or frozen with your secondary ability. Chef feels much better than he used to, and can finally be considered one of the greats among the roster of survivors. I will definitely be making a few videos with him now that he is stronger to get a better feel of where he actually fits power-wise. Oh, also, his name has finally been capitalized as it always should have been. These were not the only changes, but there were a few others worth acknowledging as well. Mithrix and the False Sun will now, quote, acknowledge imposters, whatever that means. The Void Fields will only add items at the beginning of each cell event activation. The Void Fog damage has been reduced, and the rate of which it ramps up has also been decreased. It will also correctly no longer increment the stage counter, even though I personally think it should. There are also a whole host of bug fixes, as expected. I'm not going to read all of them, but the important ones include: they have fixed a save issue that incorrectly remembers which achievements you've gotten, multiple instances of music and sounds either playing incorrectly or not playing at all have been fixed, primarily for Nintendo Switch. Mercenary's attack animation has been fixed after you use Blinding Assault. The leaves on Treeborn Colony have been fixed to no longer allow the player to get stuck. Multiple out-of-bounds areas have been patched, however they know full well that we'll still be getting out of bounds whenever we want to. Chance Doll will no longer appear with the Artifact of Sacrifice active. Multi can no longer use the Luminous Shot by just continuously firing during power mode, which was a bug, not a feature, oh well. And Mithrix will be more accurately positioned when knocked up by the Breaching Fin during his Revolving Doors attack, or how the devs call it, the Forbidden Pizza. And finally, the last change that really matters more than any of the ones I've gone over today: that's right, baby, I'm in the goddamn credits of the game! Let's go. Yeah, that's right. I honestly just think this is so cool, just to be put up with all your favorite creators and modders, and it's just an honor to be immortalized like this. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, this isn't the usual content I make, but I feel it is important to update y'all anyways. If you want to subscribe, I'd prefer you to do it on any other video. I'll stop yapping now. Thanks so much again. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.